Welcome back to Les Schwab Tire Center's Outdoor GPS, presented by Fisherman's Marine and Outdoor.
Welcome back, everyone. Thank you very much for watching the show this morning. We've got Steve Lynch from ProCure, and for whoever it is that cleans my set, forgive me and blame him. All right, so we're using the new Keith Archer's Ultimate Egg Cure. You can get that at Fisherman's Marine right now. It's in high demand already. His reputation precedes himself. Let's just go there. And if you're not familiar, if you don't know, just go. Okay, just go get some, put it in your arsenal. Okay, this is a good representation of the color that you're going to ultimately get. Well, that was a good one, with the Ultimate Egg Cure. Very, very, I'm not going to say that this is a color that I haven't seen before when you're talking about cured eggs, but it's a little bit different. There's kind of a cerise-ish look to it. And I might be saying the wrong way, but that's a really good looking color. I don't care what you say. Salmon's gonna love that. But the steelhead, which in my opinion are much more sight-oriented than they are scent-oriented. Okay, now that could be completely wrong. I've been chasing them my whole life, and I feel that their sight is more important than their scent. But that's gonna look good.
I think so.
And it's gonna obviously, I'm going with what Keith would say, look good and smell good.
He hasn't steered us wrong yet. Everything he said so far has been true, right? We haven't used it for steelhead yet, but we will be soon.
Yeah, I mean, that's right around the corner. And maybe that's one of the things that I'd like to talk about. But one of the things that we mentioned before I went to that last break, taking care of your eggs. What's the number one thing you would say to someone when they catch a hen and they're going to cure their eggs, the most important thing at that moment that they can do?
Well, first thing, when you kill the fish, bleed the fish, as you said, and then when they remove the eggs, do not put them right on ice. Because if you get them too cold, you gel them and they won't take a cure well. So even if you take a piece of cardboard and put on the ice or your ice pack, you do not want to get the eggs too cold or they gel up. But ideally, within that first day, if the berries are real big, if the skeins are big, butterfly them open. If they're really big, quarter them and get them in cure. I don't care whether it's a liquid egg cure, I don't care whether it's Amarins or anybody else, get a cure on them or give them to your buddy, right? I truly believe they start growing mold spores within 24 hours.
I bet you're right, yeah. And once you get the cure on, you're stopping that process, correct?
Yeah, it's once the cure's on, they will not grow mold. But if it's already bad before you cure it, it's still gonna be a stink egg. It's not, it may look good, but it won't perform like a freshly cured roe would.
And there's the difference, everyone. Listen, if you've been chasing salmon around here, and steelhead for that matter, for any amount of time, you know that you've seen a situation where somebody with different eggs than you is handing you your you-know-what, right? Because you don't have good eggs, they do. And a lot of that boils down to that beginning process, how those eggs were before the egg or the cure actually hit them. Okay. So now you've got all these different cures. Everyone's going to go, okay, we're going to go to Fishman's. We're going to buy some of this new Ultimate Egg Cure because that's what's going to happen, all right? But they're going to look at this wall of ProCure, of all these different cures. Number one, which one is the hardest cure to pull off correctly? And then number two, which one is the easiest cure to pull off for the first time?
So the hardest is the Last Supper. That's a 3-day process, but you've got to massage it. You have to every day give it 30 seconds of your time, and then freeze it because that sets and activates cure. And fishermen aren't great at reading all the directions.
No.
So that's the cure I get the most questions about.
Is the Last Supper.
Is the Last Supper. And that will leave you with a soupy egg, which is great for bobber fishing, or you can dry it more for the others. But the Last Supper is probably the most complicated. The easiest, hands down, liquid egg cure. Shake it up, pour it in a quart container, put your eggs, butterfly them, cut them if they're too big into quarters. Shake this well, pour it over it, put it in there for 4 hours, turn it upside down for 4 hours. At the end of that 8 hours, put it in a cauldron and let them drip any excess juice. Right. Let them air dry to the consistency you want, you're done.
Now,
so you can do it all in one day.
I'm a huge fan of, listen, when they first brought this thing out, I went nuts with it because I could cure so many eggs just like that. Yeah. And those eggs, I have caught Chinook on coastal rivers, back pouncing, steelhead in pretty much every system that I've ever fished them in. It's just a very versatile egg. And if you do that process you're referring to, drain them off, let them air dry, which is a little bit different than some of the other cures. It's just a really simple cure and a great process. But I know I alluded to this earlier. How can I make them better, right? How can I use some of your additives to make these eggs maybe just a little bit different? You know, I'm using your liquid egg cure, but I want 3 different flavors out of that same cure. How do I do that?
So we have tuna powder, we have krill powder. We can make a, when guys are referring to a hotter egg, it's adding sodium sulfite or metabisulfite.
Yeah.
And so normally what I do to our liquid egg cure, I will add 2 ounces of sodium sulfite to that container. And then when I shake it up, that way I'm making a hotter egg. Because I mark those, you know, for upriver hover fishing.
Sure.
So those are hot. I don't have to touch them. Once I've cured them, I'm done with it. But if you haven't done that, you can cut your bait into clusters, bait-sized pieces, even 15 minutes before you're going to fish them. Lightly sprinkle the sodium sulfite on it, the tuna powder, the krill powder, and let it absorb in. And that way you're taking the same egg and giving 3 different versions.
Which is important, okay? It's going to look the same, it's the same cure, but it's a different scent and a different product that you're putting in front of them. Metabisulfite. This has been, listen, you know this more than anyone. This particular product was a secret so close to the chest of some of the best egg fishermen for 100 years, but it ain't no more. Why does this product work so well if it's done correctly?
It's the scent salmon really likes. So metabisulfite, sodium sulfite, it's a mold inhibitor, and it's a color lock. So your eggs will get darker as they get older. They will stay that cherry red or whatever. And it's a scent salmon really like. But if you put too much of that in your cure, it will turn them rock hard, and you will hate me or hate you.
Right.
That's why this is more forgiving. I tell folks, unless they have a strict recipe they're sticking to, use a sulfite. That's 3 times hotter.
Gotcha.
Stay away from that. Play with this. Once you get it dialed in, then you can advance to that.
I got to cut away. I got to thank you for coming and spending some time. When I use metabisulfite, I use it as I'm putting that egg in the water. Is that wrong?
Well, you should give it time to actually absorb into the egg.
Yeah, a few minutes or more.
A few minutes, you're perfect. You can do that. Because if you try to load up way too soon, like the day before, they're going to be rock hard.
Gotcha. Thanks, man.
You bet.
It seems like something that we cover all the time, but it's always different, always information that you can use to be better with your egg game. And thank you for the products that you guys bring out. You catch a lot of fish for us, man. It's a lot of fun. All right, we'll be back in just a couple minutes. Don't go anywhere.